Welcome back to the Justice Factor. The Sunday Times this weekend published reports alleging that DA leader Helen Zille told the party's federal executive meeting that she made the outgoing parliamentary leader Lindiwe Mazibuko and that she had saved her on several occasions. Did she say all these things? And what does that say about the DA? My guest today is DA leader Helen Zille. Premier Zille, welcome to the show. It's lovely to have you, and congratulations on your showing in the elections.
Thank you very much, Justice. It's great to be with you again.
Let's start with these reports in the Sunday newspapers. Are there factions in the DA? How divided is the DA right now?
Well, the only thing that was made, Justice, was the Sunday Times headline and article, and that was made up. And of course, it was made up with the help of people who have ambitions in the party now that there's a vacancy, who are jockeying for position. And they have their reasons for distorting information, selectively leaking bits of information that aren't true, because I never said any such thing. But I know who's doing it, and I know why. They want to run in this parliamentary election. I think they've overplayed their hand and blown their cover, but it's caused ructions, and indeed it would have been absolutely outrageous if I had said any such thing.
So you say you know this person. Is this a faction around this person which is running this campaign? And are you prepared to tell us who that person is in the DA?
Well, it's a long, complex story, but the bottom line is this, that there have always been factions when there are vacancies in any political party. And some factions lose and they get very upset and then try to take vengeance the next time. And Gareth van Onselen was very associated with a losing faction in the battle against Athol Trollip 5 years ago. And since then, they've been running a vendetta against Athol Trollip and trying to destroy all of the support base in the party. And they've strongly supported Lindiwe Mazibuko. And now that she's stepped out and knew that she couldn't win the parliamentary election again this time, for reasons that I was very sad about, in fact, they are trying to drive that wedge and run this vendetta through the Sunday Times, where Gareth van Onselen now works.
Are you alleging that Gareth van Onselen, who's a columnist on BD Live and works at the Sunday Times, is part of a faction and is being run from inside the DA?
I'm not alleging it. I'm stating it as a fact.
And who is running this person then?
Well, the issue is this, that in 2009, Ryan Coetzee ran against Athol. I supported Ryan, Ryan lost. Athol became the parliamentary leader. I did everything that I could to support Athol. Gareth, who was a very close friend of Ryan, who is a very close friend of Ryan, ran a major vendetta against Athol to the point that it became dysfunctional and the caucus got very angry, so we moved Gareth out of his position. But he carried on running his vendetta to the point that he eventually left and continued running his vendetta outside. He worked very hard on Lindiwe's campaign to defeat Athol and has never stopped running his vendetta ever since. Unfortunately, despite everything we tried to do, the problems didn't go away. Lindiwe has now concluded that she would not win a parliamentary election, and that is absolutely true because I know that caucus very well. Sadly, she has decided to call it quits and go to Harvard. But in fact, Gareth cannot stop running his vendetta and is doing so with the help of other people in the federal executive.
Is Lindiwe Mazibuko helping this person, therefore, to run this campaign against you?
Look, I'm not going to say that here, but certainly this person was very closely involved in supporting and, in fact, running Lindiwe's campaign. And I supported Lindiwe's campaign very fully and openly.
You said in your press statement on Sunday that...
People were very disappointed.
You said in your press statement on Sunday that one of her closest supporters was seen with Gareth van Onselen. Surely you're implying that Lindiwe Mazibuko
yes, he was briefing Gareth van Onselen, yes.
Is that
but now let me just tell you exactly what happened at the FedEx. Everybody knows how much I supported Lindiwe's campaign to be the leader. And I really did all I could to ensure that she was elected when she stood, even though Athol had been doing a very, very good job in Parliament. And Gareth was very much part of that campaign. Now, obviously, now that Lindiwe is going to Harvard, people wanted to have questions asked in the federal executive. They asked me a lot of questions about how this had happened and why, knowing that I had supported Lindiwe. And I said, yes, I did support Lindiwe. In fact, I had never done more to support anybody's rise through the ranks in the DA as I had done for her, and that I had done everything possible to try and make her tenure as parliamentary leader successful. That is what I said. And it was totally distorted, taken out of context, and made to look extremely patronizing, as if I'd claimed that I'd made her and that she was nothing without me. That is a blatant and total lie, and you can see exactly why it was leaked and presented in that way by a person still running the vendetta in the DA and still trying to ensure that he gets his revenge, but under the cloak of a so-called objective journalist. And that doesn't wash with anybody in the DA. We all know he's also very close to Jan Uber, who's also a very embedded journalist who also sides with the faction in the DA. We all know what it is. So none of you need to take it seriously at all, because this is part of a faction fight within the DA over the succession that is being waged and helped and fueled by people who pretend to be journalists and analysts.
Helen Zille, you're making very serious allegations against quite a lot of people.
Yes, and they're all true.
You're saying all these journalists are running in factions.
Not all these journalists.
No, Jan Uber, you've mentioned Gareth van Onselen. You're saying both people who are at the Sunday Times are essentially embedded journalists working for a faction that is working against you in the DA.
Look, well, no, they're not working against me. They're not working against me at all, and they have never done that. And I'm not claiming to be a victim.
Are they working against Mmusi Maimane?
What I am telling you is that's probably what they're doing, absolutely. But the bottom line is this, that every time there's a vacancy in any political party, there are factions that come up to contest for it. That's absolutely normal in every political party. And in every contest, there are people who will selectively leak and twist information that is to their advantage. And some journalists allow themselves to be used, and some journalists don't allow themselves to be used because they check the facts and they assess whether what is being said is true or not. They've had the result they wanted, because even in your column today, Justice, even in your column today, you accepted what they said I said as truth.
No, I did not accept it. No, I didn't accept it. But I do. Let's go to those allegations, because we haven't really dealt with them. The allegation that you said you made Lindiwe Mazibuko, did you or did you not say that statement? And what did you mean if you said it?
I never said that. I would never say that. Anybody who knows me knows that I would never say something like that. And indeed, the only thing that was made was the Sunday Times story that was made up.
Isn't it, don't you find, given the atmosphere in the DA now with all these factions and this fighting, that some people would look at that and say, well, this is the sort of patronizing attitude that allegedly you have towards black leadership, that you anoint people, bring them up, and when they disagree with you, you dump them or say nasty things about them?
Well, that was certainly the intention of the article. That's why the leak was so twisted and distorted and misrepresented. They wanted to present me as that when they know very well that I'm not like that at all. And I would never say that I made anybody or saved anybody or there couldn't be anything without me. People were asking questions in the DA about the support that I gave to Lindiwe Mazibuko to become the parliamentary leader. And I had to answer those questions, which I did.
Don't you think that when you take the particular support you gave to Lindiwe Mazibuko and her team in Parliament, and the bringing in of Dr. Mampela Rampel into the DA to be his presidential candidate, that a lot of people would say, here she goes again, handpicking people, and when they don't agree with her, she again dumps them. Don't you think there's a trend here, and it's quite patronizing towards potential black leaders of the DA?
I've never dumped anyone. Lindiwe decided to go to Harvard. Mampela decided not to take up our offer as presidential candidate. My job as the DA's leader is to look for as much talent as I can, to diversify the leadership, to diversify the membership, to get as many people, good people, talented people of all races into the DA. And I spend every single day doing that. I'm not the kind of leader that blocks talent. I'm the kind of leader that brings talent in and wants competition and looks for it. So the bottom line is this, that I've never thrown any leadership away, and when people disagree with me, I'm very happy to take it. People decide if they want to stay or go, and I certainly don't handpick leaders, but I give lots of young leaders a real chance to grow in the party.
Was Lindiwe Mazibuko dishonest with you? Are you sad that she only told you about her decision to leave on the afternoon of the Saturday before the article that she wrote for the Sunday Times came out?
I'll answer that question when you fix the feedback problem that I'm getting. When I answer a question, I'm getting feedback in my ear. It's a bit better now. Thank you very much, Justice. Sure. The bottom line is this. I am actually quite glad that Lindiwe didn't tell me. Because if I'd had to run an election campaign knowing that she wasn't going to come back and stand for parliamentary leader, I would have felt that I was being dishonest towards the voters. So I'm glad that I didn't have to sit with that internal conflict and that internal contradiction at the time. I'm very, very pleased that I didn't have to sit with that. And when she told me and gave me her reasons, I knew what the lie of the land was in the parliamentary caucus. I obviously know what the lie of the land is in the parliamentary caucus. And I said, great, I accept your reasons. I will support you in the federal executive. I will wish you well. And then I went out and did my very, very best to defend her decision. I spent the whole of the Sunday, the first day I was going to take off in 73 days, but I spent it having a press conference at Leeuwenhof, backing and supporting her decision. That night, Gareth van Onselen sent out a message saying he was going to, the next day, give the real reasons that Lindiwe left.
But Lindiwe Mazibuko didn't tell you about all this. Do you think she was dishonest with you?
Well, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to impart motives to her. But you see, when Gareth van Onselen said he was going to give the real reasons, then I phoned her and I said, look, it will seem as you were dishonest with the federal executive and with me if Gareth van Onselen, who's known to be very close to Lindiwe and was seen to be briefed by one of Lindiwe's closest associates, comes out with different reasons. Then the federal executive will be at its right to assume that you gave us one set of reasons but allowed Gareth van Onselen to reveal another set of reasons. And if you want to avoid that contradiction, which will really make your credibility suffer very, very seriously, then you won't allow that to happen.
Premier Zille, thanks so much for your time and for speaking to us about this matter. We wish you luck in resolving your problems. After the break.
It's no problem. It'll go away the minute somebody's been elected, so don't worry. This always happens before an election, and it always simmers down after an election. There's no problem.
Helen Zille, leader of the DA, thanks so much. After the break, our winner and loser of the week. Stay with us.
News that moves. ENCA.com.